Oh, you know that the night time, ooh, is the right time to be with the one you love. Ooh, yeah. Don't you know, baby? Night time to be with the one you love. You know who I'm thinking of. Night time is the time to be with the one you love. Ooh, yeah. Say now, baby, my mother died and my father, well, he broke down and cried. Ooh, baby, yeah, when I come home, baby, I want to hold you in my arms. You know that the night of time, ooh, is the time to be with the one you love. You know who I'm thinking of.
Hi, I'm DeMers, and this is video number 3 of a 5-part series on how to dance drag blues. While based on vintage traveling blues dances, drag blues has a more defined technique and incorporates swing moves and movements. This video will teach you general traits and characteristics of drag blues moves. We'll discuss body shaping and dips, and moves for open, closed, and close embrace position. You'll also learn some more basics for walking, such as our circles and angled walks. Use this video to give you an idea of the types of moves you can execute and create without losing the drag blues aesthetic, and to understand the overall technical approach dancers tend to take in drag blues. We'll discuss technique and connection for each move, and the next video, number 4, will give you a deeper understanding of the connection philosophies, frame matching, and P-TED that drag blues tends to adopt. You can find a drag blues checklist at joeandnell.com, which incorporates the basic technique of drag blues walking. If you missed video 1, an introduction to drag blues, or 2, drag blues walk, make sure to watch it. After practicing drag blues moves, videos 4 will be on connection and 5 on drag blues as a fusion dance. In this first section, we're going to cover dips. Dips are a nice movement to incorporate into our dancing. They hit the music really well, they can shape the dance really well, and they're one of the defining characteristics of drag blues. And so we're going to talk about the characteristics of dips, particularly 3 characteristics. The first characteristic is called the up, twist, dip. This is one of the traits and strategies we use to have a nice, full dip that is balanced and that both people are responsible for their weight and their movement. The second characteristic that we're going to talk about is body shaping. We've talked about this in the previous videos a little bit, but we're going to talk a little bit more about the technique of body shaping, particularly when it comes to how to share your weight with your partner. The third characteristic that we're going to talk about is the anchor points and the axes that we share. How to know when to twist the body, and how to know when to open up the body with the leg during a dip. Here's our first dip. It's a pretty typical dip in drag blues. It looks like this. To start out, let's just talk about the shape a little bit, and then we'll get to applying our strategies. Firstly, the leader's arm is going to be around the back, and across the back with the forearm. We're going to be palm to palm here. The followers.
Hand across the back, about in the middle of the back.
Now, when we take our first step together, leaders, I'm going to twist into my follower to the right, leaving my right leg in front.
This twist will be the contra body that she needs to balance her in this position. For the followers, we want to match the shape of the leader's body. And to do that, we need to make sure that our step is matching the size of the leader's step. So with my right foot, I'm really trying to go as far forward as I can with this right step. That way our feet are nice and close. Then I can relax in and up. So I relax with my knee and then my hips and then my chest all the way, so I'm extending from this back foot all the way up into my leader. As opposed to relaxing from the chest down, everything would kind of drop and we'd be dragging here. Okay, so we want to take a nice large step, so we're matching the leader step, and then we relax forward with the knee, forward with the hip, up with the chest, and then we're extended into his shape.
So let's go into our strategies now and explain this a little bit more. So our first strategy is the up, the twist, and the dip. So the first thing is we always want to bring our body upright, okay, before we start shaping our body. So upright body for both the leader and the follower. Now, as I start twisting, okay, we'll be creating this shape here with the contra body, and then I can start dipping as we go into this step. We're going to apply this concept to all of our dips, about 5 in this video. So we have the up, the twist, and then the dip, okay? So for our second strategy that Nell started talking about is that body shaping strategy. So we're going to say we body shape from the toe up the body. In the previous videos, we talked about extending up through the spine. This is that same concept. And so again, let's have Nell demonstrate extending from the toe, and she's extending up through the spine as we enter this dip, okay? Now if I let go of Danielle and we're in this dip, remember that she's holding her own weight, and so it's a very twisted, lifted dip. Now, as a reminder, if the followers start to dip first before they go up or twist, remember that they're going to start going down, okay? Now, that's a fun dip and all, okay? But
use it sparingly.
in this video, we're going to cover this up, twist, dip strategy first, okay? So we're going to start up, we're going to twist, and we're going to dip. Now, you could really bend into this if you wanted to.
But we do that after we've created the shape together.
Correct. And so that's our first dip. For our second dip, we're going to take this dip and bring it more to the side. So first this dip, okay? And then towards you, notice where she is on my body and where we're twisting, okay? This next dip we're going to call a side dip because I'm going to be dipping her on the side. And so I'm going to reach my arm a little bit more around, and I'm going to dip her across my body like this. So now she's opened up on her side to me. Now, as we enter this dip, it's like the first one, but what I want to do is I want to start her off at a V, like a little bit more at an angle. The arm is a little bit more around the side, still palm to palm, still the up, twist, dip strategy. So we go up, we twist, and we dip into this. Now, we can take this from a few variations, which we'll cover later, such as a turn, but the idea again is to grab her, go up, to twist, to dip.
So as in the previous dip, the followers' goals are to extend from the toes up. We're really lengthening our shape, and to then mold that shape into the shape of the leader's body. So I'm extended up, and then as he takes me into the dip, I'm thinking about relaxing into the hip, into my stomach, into the chest as I lift up. So I'm matching the shape of his body as I extend up into the dip.
So remember, you can take this dip, followers, and you can go 2 directions. You can drop your weight down, or you can lift your weight up. Here's what it looks like when Danielle drops her weight down.
Okay, we have not a very good connection here. There's some space, and I'm not really matching the shape of his body, really.
And then body shaping up from the toe up. The body, it's a little bit stronger posture. And for me, the connection feels a lot stronger just based on how she lifted her body.
Yeah, we have a nice solid connection all the way down from the hips to the shoulders.
So let's talk a little bit here about that third strategy of an anchor point. So whenever my partner and I, we share the same axis, the body is just going to twist. There are times, for example, where the leg will open up. But in the first few dips here, we're going to share an axis so that instead of that leg opening up, we just twist and wind up like a pretzel together, okay? And so as we take her here, we're going to think about the shared axis being right here between us, and we'll be rotating our contra body around that axis, and you'll notice that Nell's foot is anchored on the ground.
The left foot.
Okay? And so as we enter this, I do my up, I do my twist, but the twist is around the shared axis, and then dip, and notice that no matter how much I twist, her foot stays there, right? We can get a really nice, bigger twist here, but the foot stays. If we take it back to the first move, the same thing with this shared axis dip. So she comes in, and I'm rotating the axis right around us in the middle here, and again, no matter how much I twist, her feet stay in place. So think about this third strategy of a shared axis, and that shared axis creates an anchor point that the feet stay in place and everything is twisting up from that anchor point. So let's take our third dip here, which you saw just a moment ago. So we're straight in here. We could bring this left hand across the leader's back. We're going to switch hands here, and now we're going to open up on this side. Okay? Now you'll notice that again we have a shared axis. We're up, we're twisting, and as we continue twisting, it becomes the dip. Okay? And so again, we can take this forward dip and change axes to this side twisted dip. Now, for the leaders, let's talk a little bit about where our hips are. So let's do this by ourselves first. So we have her dipping here, okay, and I have my hips and my butt over my left foot, my left heel, okay, and I'm stable here. I'm lifting up in this leg. So as I do my side dip, I'm going to shift my weight to my right foot and twist there, and that's part of the up. So I'm dipping, I go up, and then I start twisting, and as I sit into my right hip, I start dipping. So with Nell here, I'm going to take her, and we're going to initiate that first dip we practiced. Now as we go up, and we start twisting, we're switching the hands, and leaders, we're dipping over that right foot, and that's our balance point.
For the followers, the leader during this beginning of this dip, he establishes our anchor point in this back foot. We've stretched everything up and away from our left foot. Even though the leaders are switching our position around our shared axis point, he hasn't changed our anchor point. He hasn't opened us up. We're just twisting around a center point. So that left foot is going to stay down on the ground in the same spot.
Now leaders, we could have some fun with this. If we wanted to shift that shared axis point, maybe shift it from in the middle to the left side, we're going to open up her foot. It's going to look like this. So here we have our shared axis point in the middle, in between us. As I start bringing her up, I'm going to take my left arm around, and I'm going to shift my shared axis point to over here. So now her foot's going to open up into a cool little dip there too. So we could take this and we could surprise her, right? We could dip her, and I could say, okay, I'm going to do the first one. And because that shared axis point stays in the middle, followers, that foot stays anchored in place. Or leaders, take her and say, okay, maybe I'm going to open up on my left side, and so we have it across. Now you can have some really cool positions with this, and some nice exits because of it. For our next dip, we're going to do a simple dip in the promenade position. The promenade is the side-by-side going back position. And this is not a weight sharing dip, and it's a funky body shaping dip. And what we do is we're here in our V, we're connected in our hands, and then we're going to take a step back with our foot, our inside feet, and we're going to lift up the hips, okay? Now, this is a funky and awkward dip in the beginning, because remember that leaders, we depend on our followers to shape their own bodies. And so as we go into this, I'm not going to say to my partner, bend over, lift the hips, right? That'd be extremely inappropriate. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to take my step back, I'm going to lift up my body through this.
The followers can feel the shape in the leader's body, and we want to respond by matching to that shape.
Now, there are times where the follower might sit down, right? And you've lost that connection around the back. So the follower wants to fill in that connection, match the angle of the body, and we maintain that natural tension that's between us. And so as we take this, for example, from our walking, maybe we're walking forward or back, it doesn't matter. Leaders, we stand up, okay? Our twist is more of a step to the side, and then we're going to dip up and then back, okay? And I'm referring to the hips. The hips are going up and back as our chest goes down. And so from this angle, okay, we're going to start here. I'm going to take my side step here. I'm going to start lifting up my hips, I'm going to start bending over, and we have a cool little shape here, which I consider a dip. I'm going to tell you to consider it too now.
It's a mini dip, it counts.
Mini dip, okay? And it's the same philosophies applied, right? In terms of body shaping, she's going to start with the feet and shape up, right? Followers, if you start with the shoulders and shape down, it looks like this.
Just bend our chest forward and we've lost all of the connection, we've lost all of the shape matching. So we want to use our anchor point, which is our right foot. We bring everything up from there into the shape that we're matching with the leaders.
And now for our next move, we're going to use this as our entrance here. I'll do it from this side, so we're going to take our step back and we're lifting up with the hips. We're going to keep the arm around, and leaders, this time I'm going to take a step forward, but I'm going to lift up the follower's body so that she comes with me like this, okay? And so this is really cool because we're going to weight share. Now if I let go, she's going to the floor.
I'm taking him down with me,
okay,
though.
we're going to go together, okay? And so we start in our promenade dip here. Leaders, I'm going to come up, but I'm not going to have a shared axis. I'm going to move my axis outside of her body, but I'm still lifting her up so she doesn't want to step. Instead, she's going to stay in place. Now, we start to have a shared axis because of the chest positioning, because I'm still doing a little bit of contra body. And so from this angle here, as I come up, we have a shared axis right here. Although I'm shifting the axis, I'm leaving the shared axis over her body, which means she doesn't want to move. So I'm leaving it over her body, again from a different angle. We're here, we're up. Think of the shared axis as being her body right in line with this foot here. So I'm going to leave my connection there so that she thinks I'm staying there, but really I'm isolating and disengaging. And then I could dip her from there, okay? Now we could do a couple styles here. As we dip her, we're here, we can come up, and I can maybe have a super twisted dip. Maybe we come up, and maybe I'm going to open up the other way, right? But either way, you want to bring her up. Remember the up, twist, dip, up. Shared axis has that twist, and then start dipping her whichever way you want. This is also a good time to talk about good dipping technique for the followers.
At the end of the dipping section. So a few extra tips for the followers during shared weight dips is that we want to help the leaders help us.
Absolutely.
So we want to be live weight as opposed to dead weight. We don't want to be all relaxed, hanging on the leaders, making them carry us. We want to be engaged and holding up a lot of our own weight ourselves. So in this dip specifically, as the leader is taking my weight, I'm going to be having the hand on the shoulder and the right hand connected here. I'm pulling down with those hands and lifting my chest up. So I'm pulling down with my hands and lifting my chest up. So I'm also engaging my core to make sure that I'm not just sagging down into him. So I want to tighten my abs. And I'm also pushing off of the floor with my foot to keep myself lifted. So if you relax your legs, it's all going to sink down. You want to extend from that foot, push with your foot, engage with your abs, pull with your arms.
Now, the last tip I would say from a leader's standpoint is that the followers have to trust the leaders, and they have to trust themselves and sharing their weight. Now remember, the few dips that we've covered before this were not weight sharing, but because this one is, it requires a little bit more trust and confidence from our partner. And so as we go into this, start to adjust your body, right? Give a little extra push down and give a little bit more engagement so you can start to learn your body's center and where that center of weight is in case you need to shift it. But soon enough, as you start getting used to some of these shared weight dips, we can start relaxing because you're only using the muscles that you need and you're not using other muscles to create extra tension. And so as we go here, with Danielle for example, and I take a step outside her body, she's learned to relax the muscles she doesn't need, but she's still holding up her weight and helping. And I think that would be the last tip for dips, right, is practice, 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 get used to whether or not it's weight sharing or whether you're holding your own body, and then learn to trust yourself in shaping these dips with your partner.
Section 2, circles. We use a lot of rotational momentum in drag blues. We use it as a move in itself. We use it for preps for other moves. So here are some techniques to improve your circles on your own and with a partner.
Let's start with the idea of natural position versus contra body. We talked a little bit about this in video 2, that normally our walk is in contra body, right? We twist into our shape and then we move. But we have another style of movement, and instead of going against the body, we have the same side walk and same side walk. And so we have the shoulder, the arms, the legs, they're all walking at the same time in the same direction. And so you can start off by doing zombie walks. And so we can go zombie walk, zombie walk, zombie walk, right? But then we can make it a little bit smoother and just push forward into that step. And push forward into that step. So we're going to turn the body and then step. Now let's practice our contra body where we swing the arms. This is just our normal walking. So when we do circles in drag blues, we do natural position movements. And natural position is that zombie walk, is that same side. And so as we do our circle here, we go same side movement with our partner. Now, if we went contra body in our circle, it would look like this. We would go. So we lose some of the energy in the movement, and it doesn't necessarily look as good.
It's amazing, but we're going to pass on this one.
And so let's go over our techniques for the circle, a partner circle, and we have 5 or 6 for you, and we're going to use this circle for moves.
So the first technique we're going to talk about is paddling around with our left feet. So our right foot is going to be our axis point, and we will paddle around with our left foot, keeping the right foot more or less in the same spot on the ground. Okay, so the left foot is your driver.
Now each time you do this, you want to step. So step, 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 step. It's important as we also do this with a partner.
Okay, so our right feet are in the middle, being the axis points, and our left feet are paddling around. So you want to think about stepping forward with your left foot every time. Forward along the circle, but it still feels forward.
So in contrast to stepping forward into the circle, some people like to step out, and so you kind of get this circle going on, and it's our wobble circle.
Waddle, waddle.
Wobble. And so we're going to do this circle now and talk a little bit about the posture, a little bit more about the paddling. So as we connect here, it's the same posture. Connect with the hands across the back, relax the arms down. But stand up with good posture. Whenever we do a circle, we don't have a lilt, right? Unlike when we walk forward or backwards, we have our lilt. In a circle, we stand upright. The hips are tucked underneath us. We don't want to keep them out as we do our circle, because then we get some awkward rotation going on. Although it is fun, right? We can do it sometimes. Again, for our basic, we want to stand upright, keeping the hips underneath. And so we have the arms wrap around. We're connecting. We're going to do our paddle in this position. So we're going to go step, 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 step. And we can go faster or slower if you wish. Now, remember that we have a shared axis here, and that's the right foot. For me, her right foot, we are sharing that axis with the right feet. Now, if we move that axis again, that's when we start traveling around the room like this, okay? And so that's when we shift our axis to the left foot, to the right foot. We're going to share it for this move and keep us centered in the middle here. Now, in terms of energy, we're going to talk a little bit more about this in the next video. My partner contributes an equal amount of energy as me. And so, for example, if I put in an energy of 5,
then I have an awesome 5 as well.
And so here's the difference, okay? Here's where there is no energy from the follower. She's just relying on the leader.
So I'm still following and it's okay, but I'm making the leader do all of the work.
And here's where she adds the energy.
And I'm matching the leader's energy so they don't have to be the total driving force. I'm contributing to that momentum as well.
So it doesn't matter if it's a full circle or a half circle. my partner contributes that energy. And so just watch us dance here for a minute, right? Anytime we do a circle, she contributes that energy equally, okay? And so we can go around, I can do a half turn, she contributes that energy. Now remember, we talk a lot about followers' responsibility in this dance, and she's responsible for her posture, her tone, her tension, her energy, and the direction.
So let me tell you how we contribute the energy. I do two things. The first is that I tighten my core just a little bit to put my body in a tone that will allow me to go faster. The second is that I push off of the ground. So instead of just taking steps around wherever the leader places my steps, I'm actually pushing off the ground to make myself go faster. Okay? So tighten your core and push off of the ground.
You get a ton of energy that way. Now, as you tighten your core, we're not thinking a contraction, right? We want to extend through that and then tighten up with our posture. Remember that drag blues has good posture, so we want to accent that up. Now, as we exit the turn, we want to release that tone in the core. And it should look like this. So we turn, and as we want to exit, we want to relax out of that circle. Now, for example, if my partner doesn't relax out of the circle, it's going to look like this. Right? Or you get a funky, cool walk going on. You guys know we're all about funky. But for our basics, we're going to relax out of that. And it doesn't matter whichever turn we're doing, relax into the movement.
Yep, relax into matching the leader's shape again.
For our next move, we're going to do the up spin. We're going to combine this with the leg sweep. People really like the look of it. It looks like a flow of energy across the floor. And it feels really good too when you have that balance and you're relaxed into it.
Nice.
And so for our up spin, the leaders, when we do our paddle, we're going to go step in place, forward in place, forward, and we're going to push up into that in place foot. And so that's the right foot. So we're going to go forward, push up, and let the energy carry out. Now, when the energy starts to die, we're going to step out of it as if to walk out of it, maybe backwards or forwards. And so forward in place, the energy dies, we're going to step, and we're going to shift our lilt to walk out of it.
For the followers, the up portion of this move is going to happen when we are on our left leg, and it's going to feel like we're spinning backwards. So we're paddling around with our right foot in the middle, and then the leaders will lead this up onto our left, and we spin backwards with the right shoulder going back. So we're paddling around, and we do the up on our left foot, and then we walk out of it.
Now remember, as we do this, when you're exiting, we want to shift our lilt. We'll demonstrate that together. So we're going around, we're standing up with good posture, we're going to push up, and we're done. We're going to step, shift our lilt, and walk out of it. Okay? So again, it looks like this. We can get some energy going on with the circle. We're going to push up, step, and we can exit when we're ready. Now, the more energy you have, the cooler I think it's going to look. And so we can go around, we're going to shift up, wow. And the reason is you get a longer turn. It also requires some balance. Remember that if you start letting the hips go back, or for example, you let the foot go out, if we can demonstrate that, you're going to lose some of your balance. We're going to go up and the foot goes out, and so you're going to lose some of your balance there. It happens all the time when we first learn this. And so the tip, I would say, is keep the hips underneath you, the foot underneath you, as you're turning on that foot.
Okay.
So here we go. Up, keep it underneath you and tight. Step out of it when you're done. And exit.
Adding on to our up circle, we are going to add a leg sweep, and we do this leg sweep using contra body movement. So it looks like this. So when we're doing the circle, as Joe mentioned, we're in natural body position, which means our shoulders are stepped up over our legs. To lead the extension of the leg, the leaders are going to put the followers into contra body position. So as soon as they lead this contra body with their shoulders, with their upper body, the follows stick this left leg out. That's like our cue button for contra body.
Now, leaders, as we exit the up spin into this contra body, we're going to go left, left, push right. We're going to step left. We're in natural position. We're going to switch it, contra body. And so again, think natural. Natural, step, natural, turn, step left, switch it, contra body. Right leg goes forward. Now, as we shift the leg sweep, we're going to shift the contra body across our body. And so everybody, let's do this together. Leaders, here we go. We're in contra body. We're going to shift the contra body, and the leg swings around, unwind. So as we exit this turn together, we go 1, 2, 3, up, and we step. We're in natural position, switch to contra body. And so from there, the energy carries out in the feet across the bodies. Now that's the key idea, is energy transferring. Right? We have this up energy, we drop our weight and let the energy transfer into our contra body movement, which gives us that nice leg sweep. It looks like this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, step, around. And so as we start dancing and we start exiting, you want to shift your lilt too. And so again, we'll just start dancing down line here. So we're walking around, we have our lilt. Okay, changing our lilt. Maybe we want to go into a circle. We can go up, leg sweep, change that lilt to be forward, and we can exit out. Okay, we can exit out here. Okay, so think about these things as you are doing your upspin. Think about these things as you're doing your leg sweep. And now the hardest part too is finding balance and coordinating it with a partner. And so practice a lot, right? Practice a lot of that natural position turning to that contra body movement. Practice holding your own weight. If followers start to lean on the leader, it starts to look like this. Okay? Or, leaders, if you start to lose your balance, you're going to bring her forward like this. Right? And so practice balancing with your body upright, with that transfer of energy, and the contra body movement.
The next move we are going to talk about is the circle hip catch. Probably one of the most common moves in drag blues. It looks like this.
We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3. Now, as we do this, there are a couple things to keep in mind. Remember that we're in natural position while turning. And so we are in natural position. When we catch the hip, we're still in natural position. Remember, natural position is same side versus contra body.
Right shoulder stacked over right hip. Left shoulder stacked over left hip.
Okay. Now, to transition from the circle into the hip catch, remember that we talked about changing posture in video 2. That the followers are responsible for their own posture. If the followers are hanging on the leaders, and I try to open up, it's very difficult to change our connection.
She's being clingy.
And so, no matter where I send my arms, my partner is in charge of his or her arms, right? She's in charge of moving them. And so in this circle, we're going to be circling. I'm going to open up my embrace.
Follows will open up theirs as well.
Looks like this. We go 1, 2, 3, open 4, catcher in natural position. Now this move works really well if you have some energy going into that. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, catcher. It works nicely. But if you go slower, 1, 2, 3, 4.
The follow doesn't really have any momentum or energy to give back to you into the arm. So make sure that circle is really chugging away. That way when you release her, she wants to stretch into your arm and then she'll give the energy back to you.
Now, a lot of followers want to sit back into this. 1, 2, 3, 4, sit. Okay, if we do this, we're maintaining contra body movement. We want to turn it here so that we have natural position. And so, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
From the followers' perspective, since the leaders have initiated this movement from a circle, we have that circular rotation, it makes sense that once they release us, we would continue that circular momentum into their arms. So we're doing a circle, they've established this momentum. Once they release us, I want to continue that, they just happen to catch me.
Okay, so from here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We go rock, step, rock, step. So it's a funky rock step, but we're doing a natural position rock, step. We're going to rock, step, triple step, okay, to exit out. Again, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So some pointers for you are, from this 5, 6, remember we're in natural position, 5, 6, we're going to send her to our right hand. She's going to travel down the line and turn. That's going to happen on the triple step. If you go triple step, okay? Now that last step is very particular when the leader closes. So wait on that last step, but we go 5, 6, 7, and. So if you think about our positioning, we go from natural position 5, 6, 7, and we're in contra body movement. So this is going to help her anchor against us. And leaders, we have a couple options. We can close it off and walk out of it. So we can close it off and walk out of it. Or we can close it off from this 7 and. We close it off on 8 and create another circle. And then walk out of it. And so some things to keep in mind are these. That when we go 5, 6, 7, and, the 8 comes around 8.
And the leaders close it off. Step in front of the follow and close your body.
So if you choose to walk out of it, step in front of the follower and go into contra body. If you want to add energy and continue a circle, keep it natural positioned and circle it up.
For the follows, a couple of things to keep in mind. After this rotation rock step, we want to travel down the line as we turn. And then we're going to put that stretch back into the leader's right arm. Okay, so we have this stretch and momentum on this arm. We're going to send it to the other arm so the leaders can swing off of our bodies here.
Now notice that Nell's not sitting down, right? A lot of followers are sitting to it.
Extending everything up and putting that my whole body into his arm. Okay?
Now also, followers, watch this elbow.
So I always turn first and look, and elbow second. Okay? So I'd rather sneak the elbow over nice and low rather than hitting the leaders in the face. So look first and low rather than high.
Okay, so the whole thing from the top looks like this. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2. For this next pattern, we're going to combine our walking, our turning, and our dips. It's a nice pattern. It feels really good. It looks like this. So we'll start over here. We go 1, 2, and 3, 4, and dip. Okay? So some things to keep in mind from the first video. Remember to stand up tall, work on your lilt. We're here, so we're lilting, and 1, and 2. We're going to open our embrace on and, but because we're creating a circle, we're standing up, we're no longer at a lilt. Imagine doing it like this, right? So anytime we create some sort of rotation, we want to have an upright posture. And so we're and 1, and 2, come up. We're releasing our embrace and, hands on the hips, twist the hips. Now leaders, when you grab the hips, we're going to squeeze in like we're squishing our followers, okay?
She's an accordion, apparently.
Okay, now try not to grab higher, try not to grab lower, kind of top of the hips here, squeeze. Now that squeeze, the purpose of it is to create some compression, a little bit more connection. We're going to wind her up and then push with the right, pull with the left like a top. And so she should be able to spin like that in place. Again, We're going to push and wind her. Now, if you start pushing with one hand, right, she's going to end up spinning away from you. And so here, to go from our walk, we go and 1 and 2 and 3, turn her and dip her. Okay? So, some follower tips.
So follows, of course, we're matching the lilt here. We're extending, projecting. Come up into neutral when the leaders come into neutral. We open our frame when the leaders open their frame. We're matching this twist in the arms by rotating our hips as far as the leaders rotate their arms. And then when they add that toned spin, we're going to put that into our core and give them a nice tight spin. Of course, when we go into the dip, we're going to relax up and into the leaders. So starting with the foot, and then the knee, and then the hip, and then the chest. So everything is extending up from our anchor point.
And that's part of our drag blues body shaping technique. Now, some things to keep in mind from this move. We go from contra body to natural position. Okay, so same side. That's going to be part of our prep. So we go and 1 and 2, we go into natural position. And it feels a little funky at first, but we do it, it feels nice to us because we practice it, and so we're going to turn her. Now, when we turn her nice and slowly here, she might travel toward us a little bit, okay? And that's fine, because leaders, I'm going rock, step, and because of that natural forward back, she might travel a little bit. Now, next, what we want to do is, as she's turning, I want to catch her around the back as she's turning, let her wrap up. Remember our posture for our dips. We go up, we start twisting, and then dipping. But that right hand connection is really important. So we turn her, we're going to connect early, connect low. She winds up, we go up for our dipping technique, up, twist, dip. Okay? So the whole thing looks like this. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, up, twist, dip. Okay? So what's great is we can catch her at different angles. Now with this up twist dip, I can catch her a little early and start pulling her a little early, so that gets us into a side dip. So at your angle we go 1, 2, catch her, pull her, up twist dip. And so we have a nice side dip. We could take this, we could also go 1, 2, we go up, but instead of twisting and dipping, we're going to pass her first. Twist us across the body, and then dip like earlier. Okay? Again, that one looks like this. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, up, twist across the body, dip. Remember, you can grab the hand if you want. You can spin her out if you want. You have options. And again, it's all about your axis, it's all about your creativity and how you connect to your partner.
Followers, during all of these spins and dips, we just want you to go for it, to be responsible for your energy and your body movement, and to not be afraid. Just like trust the leaders. So I'm adding to the energy of the spin. I'm changing shape with the leaders. Wherever he wants to put me, I'm happy to go there. So just be brave and try new things. Don't resist. So add energy and don't resist.
For the last section of this video, we're going to work a little bit on the walking styles and different angles that we can walk. We have 4 corners in this room. We can walk to all the corners. We can switch directions as we walk, maybe like a mambo step. And then we could do take some inspiration from the ballroom world and maybe do some of their steps like a promenade. Now, as we walk to the angles, it looks like this, and there's some funny things going on. But here's the basic shape. So here's to one corner, to the other corner. And we can walk over here. And then over here. And then back up front. Okay, so some things to think about first. We're going to go to the right forward corner here. This has some sense of contra body, but it also has a sense of stepping in natural position. I'll explain that as we go. But here we go. As we go forward, we want to think stepping in the corner. And remember that we have to have our lilt. Remember we have our and we push 1, and push 2, and push 3, and push 4. Turning around, same direction, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. So the feeling of natural position comes from stepping kind of in the same direction as our projection and having that right side here go and follow that foot. Now we can twist up a little bit, not as much, because if I twist up more it's going to dip my partner. But because I'm twisting so much and we want to step to the angle, we want to back off a little bit on the contra. So we have contra body, projection, drive, contra body, drive, contra body, drive, contra body, drive. Now when we come backwards here, it's the same thing. We want to project, we have our contra body, and we push drive, project, drive, project, drive, project, drive. Now with a partner, we have to, she's connected to the leader's right side, okay? And so if we were to go with the leader's right foot, the follower's left, and we stepped out like this, we have room to go forward. And so this is our projection where we have our lilt, and then we're going to drive forward. Now for the left leg coming behind the follower, this is a little bit harder because her leg's in the way. And so what the leaders need to do is we need to get a little lower so we can come a little bit behind, and we're going to project here and we can drive, project, project, and drive. Now the followers respond to the contra body.
So when the leaders give me this little bit of a twist with the contra body, that's my cue to project my left leg, and then we transfer weight with the drive. Same thing here, he leads a little bit of the contra body, that's my cue to project with my right leg, and then he drives into that weight transfer. Project, drive. So the contra body movement is the key to leading this successfully.
Now remember, followers, the leader should not be lifting your leg to project and drive, project and drive. As Nell said, the moment the contra body happens, her leg,
shoop, it's out there, it's ready to go. He does a weight transfer by doing his own weight transfer. He doesn't have to kick my leg out and move me.
Now, when we want to go to the other angle, this one is harder, and we can't angle as much. And the reason is she's over here, so I'd have to like really reach around to get to that angle. And so instead, we do more of a forward walk, but heading to the left corner here. So it's more here. Now you can see I can't go behind her much more. If I did, I'd be wrapping her up, okay? Super fun, but not our angled walk. And so when we go to the left corner for the leaders, we're gonna cross almost like in front of her, like we're walking forward, but then as much behind her as we can without getting twisted. And so we're gonna go forward. Now this left leg, we can go out a little bit more because we have some room. With the right leg, I can't go out, so instead I head angle more forward, and then the left leg project out. So from this view, we go with the right leg, we're projecting as much as possible. Left leg, project, project. Now, we want to work on the balance on both directions, and especially when the leaders go backwards, the followers go forwards. And so here, the right leg is free, and so we can project and drive into this one. But this one, you don't reach behind followers. It's more forward, and we go backwards here. We can reach the corner for this projection drive. For this one, not so much. From this angle, where the followers are crossing behind, we're here. We can really reach out and project and drive. Now, for the right leg for the followers, left for the leader, not so much, right? This is going to help with balance, right? We can project and project, okay? So work on those projections and all the corners. The key is the lilt, the key is the projection. We don't want to step through it, right? It's really easy to go step, 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 step. But we want to maintain our lean, we want to maintain our projection and our drive. Our projection and our drive, projection and drive. Now we can take these corners and we can do mambo steps where we kind of go out and cross. So we go out and project, drive, out and project, drive. So with a partner it looks like this. So we go out and project, drive, out and project, drive. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. Now, as we do this, remember your lilts, right? So we're here, we're gonna go upright, lilt, drive, upright, lilt, drive, upright, lilt, drive, upright, lilt, drive. Going backwards, upright, lilt, drive, upright, lilt, drive, upright, lilt, drive, upright, lilt, drive. Okay? So those are our mambo steps. Continuing our walking theme, we have the promenade. The promenade looks like this. We go to the side, open forward, and walk forward like so. At your angle, we go side, open, and walk, and walk. Now, this is all about natural position.
So when we take the side step and we're in natural position, we'll be taking our left shoulder over my left hip, leader's right shoulder over the right hip, all moving together as a unit.
From here, we're going to take our body and open it up toward the direction we want to walk in. We want to lilt and project. Okay, so we have our projection and we want to drive. We lilt, project, and drive. Going across the floor here. We do our entrance, natural, lilt, drive, project, drive, project, drive, project, drive. Now, although we're not connected, we are walking forward, which is why we still have that lilt. Side, open, project, drive, project, drive, project, drive. Now, there is a moment of it feels again like there's some natural, some contra body in this, and it goes from here. It looks like this. So we go back, and right here, it feels like we want to do contra body, but contra body might open us up too much. So it's more to the natural position, and we drive forward. From here, we do get contra body, but it's from the legs swinging. And so what we call this is the contra body movement position, and that's with the leg creating the contra body. We're projecting and drive. We're in natural, it feels like natural, projecting and drive. Now again, there's some contra body, but not much. Here, definitely, not so much here. Okay? So more of a natural movement position. Now think about this as you're going. Followers, remember your responsibilities in terms of energy.
We want to be responsible for our own energy and contribute to the energy as much as the leaders do. We match them. If they give an energy of 5, we give an energy of 5. We do that by adding a little bit of tone, extending from the feet up, and pushing off of the floor.
Okay, now he's not going to move your body, he's not going to create your posture. You have to match the step here, you have to match the lilt here, you have to match the timing of the projection and drive. Now it's as if we don't touch, and then when we do touch, it's a very light connection. We have our natural promenade entrance, and she changes on her own, changes on her own, changes on her own. And what's nice about this is we have a couple exits. And so as we're going, I could bring her in front, and we could continue our walking. We would have to go from that natural position here. We go to natural, and then from that into contra. Okay? Project, drive, project, drive. So we go, boom, boom. We're here, bring her in front. We're upright. We're going to set our contra body and go. Remember to set your lilt. Now, we could also do this where the leader closes off in front. So we do our promenade. We're here, and we walk, and walk, And leaders, when the inside foot is here, we can close off the connection, okay? So timing would go 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and in front, there we are. Now, we hope you enjoyed video 3 of how to dance drag blues moves. Now that you have a good idea of drag blues body shaping and dips and open, closed, and close embrace position moves, go out blues dancing. Share your knowledge of blues and the drag blues aesthetic with your friends and students. Remember that you can find a drag blues checklist at joeandnell.com, which incorporates the basic technique of drag blues walking. In video number 4, we'll discuss technique and connection more deeply and teach you frame matching and P-TED. Also, look for video number 5, drag blues and fusion.